The summer of 1939 was a time of innocence, a time when children played without a care in the world, exploring the world around them. But for one 12-year-old boy, the summer would turn into a nightmare. A family trip to the mountains of Maine would transform into a desperate fight for survival. This is the story of Donn Fendler, the boy who got lost in the wilderness, a story that captured the attention of a nation. How could a 12-year-old boy survive 9 days alone in the wild, facing the cold, the rain, hunger, and terror? Donn Fendler, adult. Nobody should ever have to go through what I did. All I wanted was to go home. It was a perfect summer day on July 17, 1939. The air was crisp, the sun was warm, and the Fendler family was enjoying a vacation at their grandparents' cabin on Mount Katahdin, Maine. 12-year-old Donn, full of youthful energy, was eager to explore. His older brother, Ryan, and his cousins were hiking to the summit, and Donn, wanting to prove himself, decided to take a shortcut. He ran ahead, convinced he could beat them to the top. But when he reached the peak, the trail was empty. His family had taken a different path. The joy of the adventure turned into a cold, sinking feeling of dread. He was completely alone, miles from home, without a compass, food, or water. As the sun began to set, the temperature dropped and the thick mountain fog rolled in. Donn tried to retrace his steps, but every direction looked the same. The once friendly forest now seemed to close in on him. His family soon realized he was gone. They shouted his name into the darkening woods, their calls swallowed by the growing silence. The search began that very evening, but with visibility nearly zero and the cold setting in, they were forced to return to the cabin. The next morning, a full-scale search was launched. But Donn was already gone, lost in a vast and unforgiving wilderness. Alone in the dense forest, fear was Donn's first enemy. The night was a symphony of terrifying sounds. The hoot of an owl, the rustle of leaves, and the distant howl of coyotes made his heart pound against his ribs. Every shadow looked like a lurking predator. He found a small rock ledge and crawled beneath it, shivering, listening to the world around him, praying for morning. The next few days were a brutal test of his will. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, and thirst became his constant companion. He tried to remember what he had learned in school about survival. He found a stream and drank deeply, though the water was cold enough to sting his throat. He searched for food, finding some bitter berries he hoped were safe to eat. They did little to satisfy his hunger, but they were better than nothing. His clothes were soaked from the rain and torn by thorny bushes, and his body was covered in scratches and insect bites. He was exhausted, but he couldn't stop moving. He walked without a clear destination, following streams downhill, hoping they would lead to a road or a house. The thought of his family spurred him on, giving him the strength to push through the pain. News of the missing boy spread like wildfire. Newspapers across the country ran headlines about the search. Volunteers from all over New England, along with the National Guard and professional search parties, joined the effort. The search area was immense. Over 300 square miles of dense forest and rugged terrain. They used every resource available. Planes flew overhead, helicopters crisscrossed the skies, and a dozen search dogs scoured the ground. Yet, day after day, there was no sign of Donn. Hope began to fade for many, but not for his family. Donn's mother, a woman of deep faith, refused to give up. She believed with all her heart that her son was alive, and her unshakable hope became a beacon for the searchers. Donn Fendler, adult? I knew my family was looking for me. That thought never left my mind. It gave me the strength to keep going when I felt like I couldn't take another step. On the 9th day of his ordeal, Donn was a shadow of the boy he had been. He was weak, disoriented, and on the brink of collapse. He stumbled through the woods, his mind clouded with exhaustion. He had walked over 21 miles, survived freezing nights, and fought off hunger and fear. Just as he thought he could go no further, he heard a sound that didn't belong to the forest, a low murmur of a human voice. He pushed through the last of the trees and saw it. a small cabin, and a man on the porch, a fisherman named Joe Mignot. Donn called out, a weak, rasping sound. The man looked up and, seeing the emaciated, terrified boy, rushed to him. It was a miracle. Donn was found. He was taken to a hospital, where his mother's faith was finally rewarded. Donn was reunited with his family, and the boy who had been given up for lost was finally home. His survival became a national sensation, a testament to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Donn Fendler's story didn't end there. He grew up, became a successful man, and shared his incredible tale with the world, writing a book and speaking to audiences about his experience. His story is a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope and perseverance can see us through. Donn passed away in 2016 at the age of 90, but his legacy lives on, inspiring generations. This story shows us that nature is unpredictable, but the strength of the human spirit is infinite. What do you think of this incredible story? Have you heard of Donn Fendler before? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to hear more stories of survival and human resilience, like and subscribe for more content.